Hey everybody, it's Lydia Joy here again today to talk to you about adrenal health. And if you're popping by, go ahead and say hello. I am here to empower you, and I want you to experience more joy in all ways in your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. And I want to talk more about adrenal fatigue because yesterday, if you were able to check out my video, and if you weren't, you can scroll down and look for that. I shared a statistic with you that about 80% of adults will experience adrenal fatigue during their lifetime. And that's a lot of people. And the reason why so many people are experiencing adrenal fatigue is, honestly, the reason is not just physical. Our physical well-being totally depends on our mental, emotional, and spiritual health too. So I want you guys to think about your adrenals in a whole new way, not just as these little glands and as this syndrome of symptoms, but a whole life conundrum. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with adrenal fatigue or adrenal health or even what your adrenal glands are, I'm going to give you a quick little insight about that. And basically, they're these two little tiny glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and they're kind of where the strength center of your body is located. This is kind of where you get your ability to keep on keeping on and endure. And you probably already maybe know that they're there to spur you on, to give you energy, to help you tackle stressful situations. And those are both emotional and physical. So a little bit about some of the hormones. I'm just going to get a little nerdy for 1 second because I want to make sure you are connected to this. And I think you all understand that the adrenals will produce adrenaline. And this is when our body produces adrenaline, is when we need the gas to get going, more of, that fight or flight kind of push and drive. And then we have the other side of our nervous system, which is parasympathetic, where we get to put the brakes on, right? And, a lot of us have a lot of fight or flight in our life these days. So during those times, we really need the sympathetic nervous system to change our physiology so we can take action, right? However, the problem is in our modern day, we go, and we don't realize we kind of can't always do that. So you really do need that parasympathetic side of your nervous system to change your physiology. You need to be in that mode as well versus just the go, drive, right? So you can really restore your body and experience that deep rest and relaxation that's needed to do that. Now, I work with mostly women, and unfortunately many women's adrenals are tasked with constantly producing these hormones that keep them amped up, right? If you're a woman and you're stopping by, and you're probably well aware of all the demands of life. But here's the thing. When we have abnormal adrenaline and cortisol levels over time on repeat, and we have to keep this up, that can result in things like mood issues or even disorders or sleep issues. It can reduce our immunity and our immune system. And actually also changes our circulation even. So I'm going to tell you in a minute what that really looks like. But here's another problem with this though, is like so many people have the symptoms of adrenal fatigue and they're not, they're very uncomfortable, but maybe not intolerable, like a more serious disease would be. And so a lot of times people don't deal with it. And it becomes more self-destructive over time if it's not dealt with. So I want to come here and share this with you and talk about it because I want you to connect to what I'm sharing and see if this resonates for you so you actually can take action and do something about it. So over time, your adrenals can really become overtaxed, exhausted, and not keep up with the burden of that kind of lifestyle that might be super demanding. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with that, right? So here's how it can show up in your life. And I'm Lydia. For those of you who don't know me, I am a single mother. I have 4 boys. I've been a single mom for about 9 years, and I also have my own business. And I'm going to tell you really quick about my story, about the symptoms of adrenal fatigue and how they showed up for me and how they could possibly also be showing up for you. So, I had a lifestyle that was very intense, a lot of moving, a lot of stress, marital strife, having 4 kids, not getting sleep for years and years. And I came to a point where I just couldn't drag myself out of bed in the morning. And I would only get out of bed because I had to take care of the kids. And I was groggy and I couldn't keep going, even with coffee. Coffee just would not touch my fatigue. I required chocolate every day in the afternoon to give me that afternoon boost. I craved sweets. I eventually experienced some pretty heavy hypoglycemia symptoms, which is common in adrenal fatigue. You can't keep up your energy without keep giving yourself carbs and something sweet to keep, that fuel going in your body. I couldn't remember things. I felt like I was walking around like a zombie, and the thoughts that I wanted to come, it was like trying to get them through a foggy swamp or pea soup. And so your brain can really slow down, and I got sick a lot. I had recurring infections. For me, it was sinus infections. I got headaches all the time. I felt very low, depressed, not like myself. Very, very much felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. I had a lot of trouble falling asleep because my mind would be racing about the thoughts of the day, even though I was so tired. Have you ever had that? And another thing is low back pain. So that was common for me. My lower back always hurt, and I could never figure out what was wrong. And had to go to the chiropractor, had to always sit with heat packs. It would just never go away. There was no explanation for it. And I even would throw my back out very easily from just bending over to pick up laundry or something very simple, which makes no sense why that would throw out your back. But this is a real physiological response to being in adrenal exhaustion. And even just the littlest daily stresses, like the stuff that shouldn't be a big deal, would just make me snippy and cringy. And, I'd find myself shushing the kids when they weren't really even being obnoxious or making noises. And, the desire for sex goes out the window, the libido's shot, and you're bummed because it's like, well, where did that go? I miss it. If this sounds familiar, my experience sounds familiar to you, you could be experiencing some exhaustion. And you may have heard that termed as adrenal fatigue. Okay? So a lot more to it than just adrenal fatigue, but it is a collection of symptoms related to this syndrome that we know as adrenal fatigue. And I really want to share today with you about how the relentless stress that we all face, and especially over time, especially if it is just not addressed through any lifestyle changes or working through your emotional health, combined with any level of, poor diet or lack of, just care for your physiological well-being, it can lead to adrenal fatigue. And we see that so prevalent in our society. So now that you've heard all this, now what? What can you do about it? That is what this is all about. These videos that I'm showing up to share with you every day is going to be all about for the next week and a half. So if this sounds like you, stay tuned. Make sure you click turn notifications on when Divine Health goes live so you can tune in or come back and watch the replay. But the best option, guys, for healing this issue, this adrenal fatigue, especially over the long run, it's not a short-term quick fix. I wish it was. We all are looking for that, right? But really to restore your body and, your whole health to function and produce those hormones again effectively, which is part of the reason why you're having all the symptoms is your hormonal production has gone to pot. The biggest thing I can tell you is making lifestyle changes, especially changes of your lifestyle that actually led you to this place to begin with. And that is not a judgment. That is not a criticism. That is just the way it is. We all have, lived in this modern day world and, we haven't seen how to really, truly, deeply take care of ourselves. So I have a couple tips for you today, and they're very, very simple, and they're things that I've worked on for years and I share with my clients. And while they may seem simple, they can take practice, but they can go a long way partnered with what you need to do nutritionally as well, okay? So my very first one is just shifting so that you're practicing gratitude. When you're in adrenal fatigue, you can feel pretty grumpy. You can see the glass half full. You can feel low. It's hard to shift your mood into a positive direction. And so practicing gratitude can help you shift and really cause your outlook to improve, okay? So it's very simple. You can, write a couple things down every day, say them out loud. But practicing gratitude is huge. It's one of my favorites. Also, making sure that the relationships you have in your life actually nourish you. You actually feel good. Make sure the people you are spending time with really help you feel the best version of you and not stressed and anxious. And they're really uplifting to you. That one's a hard one because sometimes we have to come to the realization that some of the people that are in our life are not necessarily benefiting us. So that one can be a toughie, but it's just good to be aware, start to be aware of. Learning self-love and self-acceptance, and so that you can create self-care practices. This is huge, you guys. And I shared a video recently on Valentine's Day about that. It was just really that whole self-love aspect of your life and health and how huge it can be. A lot of times we are driven into adrenal fatigue because we don't see our worth and we let other people define our life for us, and we do too much stuff for everybody else and we don't think of ourselves, and then we get burned out. So learning self-love and just really allowing for that is huge. And then just, really giving yourself time for relaxation. It's okay to not always be task-oriented and duty-oriented and helping everybody else all the time. We really need time to recharge and get into that opposite side of the nervous system that does allow us to heal, which is the parasympathetic, and kind of put on those brakes and really rejuvenate, rest. And there's so many ways you can do this. So you need to figure out strategies that work for you. Find things that help you really feel the ability to rest in a good way. So you're not finding yourself just like trying to escape from life and like Netflix binging all the time and drinking alcohol at the end of the day and that kind of thing. Okay. And then I have two more, and then I'm going to share where we'll go next. And the last two are just, they're simple, but they really could stand to be something we remind ourselves of, and they kind of build off of what I already shared. So number one is learn when to say yes and when to say no. Are you saying yes too much and no to yourself too much? I know that can happen. It can be so easy. You know, we want to, some of us are just really supportive and we want to help everybody and we just love helping people, but we have to have a good balance. So learn when you can say no. It's okay to say no. Saying no can be very, very healthy. And then just prioritize, you know. I know for me, I used to have way too high of standards for my life and I wanted to achieve way too much and I wasn't being very realistic. So, you know, prioritizing what absolutely has to be done and just letting everything else go. You know, it's okay to not accept every single commitment that comes your way. And, you know, making this like huge list of to-dos, because, you know, that will just drain your battery even more. All right, so I shared a lot today. I hope you guys found this helpful, insightful, and I'm definitely going to be back to share more with you on, you know, diet, nutrition, sleep, exercise, supplements like I did yesterday, and make sure you look for that video. But here's the thing, if the whole person and the lifestyle is not addressed, you know, some of those things won't get you very far in your adrenal healing. So it really needs to be a whole lifestyle approach. So I'm going to ask you guys, what about you? You know, if you've been watching, did you resonate with anything I shared today? Have you experienced any of the things that I did? Do you want to know more? Do you have questions? Share in the comments below and I'll pop by later and chat with you. And if you like this video, please, you know, give me a thumbs up or comment or share. This really helps other people to find the video too and benefit from what I shared. And then lastly, I'd love for you to come join my newsletter, which I will have a link for you available. You'll also get a free ebook of 52 healthy habits, and all those habits are good for adrenal fatigue, and you don't have to pick all of them. Just pick a couple. There's a lot in there, but definitely just pick a couple that resonate with you. And you can find that link available shortly. And that's all I wanted to share for today. I will be back very soon with more on what you need to know about adrenal fatigue and what you can do to support yourself. So thank you so much for watching. Bye guys. Have a good rest of your day.